It's hard to believe, but 37 years ago, a thief walked into the famous Père-Lachaise cemetery in Paris and stole the statue of Jim Morrison, the legendary frontman of the 1960s rock band The Doors. And for the longest time, nobody knew what happened to it. That is until recently, when police investigating an unrelated crime stumbled upon it in a bizarre twist of events. So what exactly happened to the statue? Who stole it and why? Let's find out. Jim Morrison is an iconic musician who became famous in the 1960s, alongside icons such as Janis Joplin and the Rolling Stones. At the height of his fame, the Doors frontman was arrested multiple times for indecent exposure and other charges. His behavior was often deemed erratic and unpredictable, and at one point, authorities even considered placing him under psychiatric care. Despite this, his band continued to sell records and gain popularity. But everything changed after his untimely death in 1971. After his death, the Doors continued releasing music with other lead singers, including Morrison's girlfriend, Pamela Corson. The band never achieved the same level of success without him, though, and they eventually split up in 1973. Today, the remaining members still occasionally perform together and attract a large following of devoted fans. After Morrison's death, his grave became a popular destination for fans, and in 1981, on the 10th anniversary of his death, a white marble bust of him was placed on top of his grave by Croatian sculptor Mladen Mikulin. For nearly a decade, the statue stood silently in the cemetery and attracted many visitors. But in May 1988, it vanished without a trace. Someone had stolen it. At the time, the statue was made of white marble and weighed about 282 pounds. Despite its size, the thief or thieves managed to carry it out of the cemetery unnoticed. Nobody saw them or the statue until it reappeared on May 19, 2025, over 37 years later. To understand how the statue went missing and what happened to it next, we must travel back to May 1988. On that fateful day, the statue was stolen from the cemetery. But as we mentioned earlier, nobody knows who did it or how they pulled it off. What we do know is that after it was stolen, the statue spent several years sitting in a garage at the home of a suspected French art trafficker named Guy. He was known to deal in stolen works of art and was even imprisoned in 2004 for his crimes. During his trial, he denied wrongdoing, claiming he had no idea the bust was stolen. According to reports, the bust was discovered during a routine search of Guy's house. The search was conducted by officials investigating an unrelated financial crime. They weren't looking for the stolen statue at all, but when they entered the garage, they recognized the marble bust of Jim Morrison immediately. They knew it had been stolen from the Père-Lachaise cemetery years ago and contacted the police. It is not clear what led to the bust being placed in Guy's home or why he kept it there for so long. He likely bought it from someone else who stole it, but we may never know for sure. In 2015, news broke that the statue had resurfaced. This caused quite a stir among Morrison fans and those responsible for maintaining his grave. But the bust never actually returned to its rightful place. Instead, it was put into the possession of the French National Police Force and remained there for another 8 years. Finally, after an absence of 37 years, the statue was returned to its original resting place beside Jim Morrison's grave. Unfortunately, due to the passage of time and exposure to the elements, the statue was heavily damaged and had to be restored before it could be placed back on Morrison's tomb. Now, if you're wondering why such a big deal was made over the return of a stolen statue, it's because the grave of Jim Morrison is a pilgrimage site for fans of the Doors. Thousands of people visit every year to pay tribute to the legendary musician. The grave itself has become a symbol of the counterculture movement of the 1960s and the rock and roll lifestyle. Sadly, the grave site isn't the only thing that's been targeted by thieves over the years. In October 2008, for example, someone stole the bronze plaque bearing Morrison's name from his tomb. The theft was widely publicized and generated hundreds of tips, but the plaque was never recovered. In recent years, security measures have been stepped up at the cemetery to prevent further damage, but nothing could have predicted what would happen next. So let's get back to the present day. The return of the bust was widely reported in the media and generated excitement among Morrison fans. However, there are still many unanswered questions surrounding the bust and its disappearance in 1988. For example, we still don't know who stole it or why they did it. It is possible that whoever took the bust simply wanted to sell it to a private collector, or that they had some sort of grudge against the Doors or Jim Morrison. But these are just speculations, and we may never know the truth. One thing that remains certain is that the statue was in good hands while it was at Guy S. house. Despite being missing for so long, it appears to be in decent condition overall and can now be admired once again at Morrison's gravesite. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss out on any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.